Goals. Oh gosh, we get tired of hearing about goals and trainings and videos and all this stuff on goals. And then we have SMART goals, which I use. I'm not dissing SMART goals. SMART goals are actually really good to use. But have you ever been in a meeting, or maybe you've led a meeting and you're talking about goals? Maybe you're even just, maybe you're with a coach and they're talking about goals as well with you and the things you want to do personally in your life. But there's a little bit of a disconnect. I know when I was with different organizations and companies, and the president would come up and say, here's our goal for the next year. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes I would and I would see it in the audience and kind of get this glossed over look. Like, yeah, what does that mean to me? Like, I just want to show up and do my job and make sure I have a job and I'm taken care of and I have benefits and I get paid, and I don't care about the big plans for the organization or the company. Even if they're SMART goals. What does that mean to me? But there is a way that we can frame these goals in a way that is important then for everybody. And one is to use language that includes everybody, something that everybody understands. Sometimes, and I get it because I've been in management and leadership. I've held C-level executive positions. And so you have this kind of in-speak sometimes that leadership might have that the organization may not have. Frame the language of your goals in a way that everybody understands it. Then, and this is not rocket science, but I do take a different take on this, which is break down the goals into something that is smaller and manageable. But here's where I want to add a little bit of flavor or nuance to that. You want to make it so small that it's attainable and you get buy-in from everybody in your organization or on your team. So if you have a yearly goal, I know lots of times then you break it down to quarterly and then you break it down to monthly. Occasionally, if you're like in sales or something, you might break it down to weekly. But what can you do to break it down to like, well, what are you going to do for the next 10 minutes when this meeting is over to help attain the goal? And you will let them say what they're going to do to help buy into the greater goal. Let them use their language. Work with your team and say, well, what are you going to do? And it's not, I need a sale today. Maybe it's, well, I need to make 5 phone calls, 5 text messages, and 5 emails today. If I do that this morning and I do that at every shift, morning and afternoon, then the law of averages will say that I'll attain my goal by the end of the week. Make it attainable, but let them say, here's what I'm going to do to help reach my goals, and then also the organization and company goals. So break it down into something really simple where they get buy-in. Here's the next thing about goals that's really important to understand that sometimes we forget. Be ready to pivot. Be ready to pivot. Things are coming at the world and at your organization so fast that you may have to adjust your goals. You may have to adjust your timelines. You may have to adjust, maybe the goal stays the same, but the strategy to get there has to change. There has to be something. What if you have somebody? What if your CFO leaves? What if your top salesperson gets promoted? Well, that's great because they can train other people, but now you've lost that revenue, that they have to train and now duplicate. Maybe the economy shifts and you've got to change your strategies. You have to be able to kind of flow with the river. It's not a highway in the desert, it's a river flowing through the mountains. And sometimes what we do is we set out this goal, and then we're just so focused on attaining the goal and we're going down the river, we don't see the bend in the river. So now we're just swimming and we're hitting our head against the bank of the river because the river is turning, but we're not turning with it. So when you're talking about goals, use SMART goals, that's great. Use it in a language everybody can understand. Reduce it to the point where they tell you how they can attain their goals, so they get buy-in from the entire organization or company or team goals. And then be quick and acknowledge this even when you're setting a goal to say, hey, things might change. We might have to change strategies on the way. So be ready to pivot if you need to pivot. And then just flow with the river. And then when you look back, you'll be able to realize, hey, we met those goals. At least that's the plan, right?
Action.
Goals!
I was not expecting that. 3, 2, 1. Action.
Goals. Oh gosh. All right. I almost did it again. I'm like, nope, let's just keep going. Okay. Okay.